Hi everyone. Happy Deepavali first of all. Welcome to the seventh session of Unnathi. As you all know, Unnathi we have been doing it like say a few months now. It is kind of what we have started to do is basically to help the students and as well as the recently passed out students to kind of know about the opportunities for the higher education. It might be in India, it might be abroad, but the overall idea of Unnati is that. So we have done a couple of sessions about IIT, IIMs also, MBA part or MTech in India. We have done a couple of MS opportunities in US and abroad for mechanical, computer science, and etc. So today is like say the one more domain that we wanted to pick so that we can make sure that we are covering all aspects of it. We want to expand, of course, that is one of the things. From the UVC Graduates Association, we have always been trying to make sure that all the alumni and students have a platform, irrespective of the branch, basically. So we will work towards that. Any suggestions or any inputs regarding this will be more than happy to kind of cater to that. So, without further delay, what we'll do is we'll first welcome the speakers today. Okay, I know some of you would have seen the invitation already, but it would be nice to kind of welcome them also officially. So, Prajna, welcome to the event today. Prajna is from 2015 UVCE. She completed her MS Electrical Engineering in University of Southern California, and she is currently design engineer at Xilinx San Jose. We will ask her to give a little bit more info about herself and know a little bit more about her. But yeah, first of all, welcome, Prajna. And yeah, the second speaker is Bhargavi. She is from 2018 batch. She completed her MS in Electrical and Electronics from Darmstadt University of Applied Science, Germany. Currently, she is working as embedded software developer at Vector Informatik. And let's welcome Bhargavi. Glad to have you both today here. Uh, so, what the flow, as you generally all know, I'll just keep it very short and let you know. Both of them will, like say, I'll request them to give a quick intro and their initial thoughts. Then there are few generic questions that we have taken, both from the forms when people have done the RSVP and as well as the generic ones which many people would want to know. So we'll combine that and go through for that maybe for around 20-25 minutes. Then open up for questions. So by then, like say, think of like say when you hear both of them, think of any questions that you would want either of them to answer or both of them to answer, and you can put it out in the chat. We will definitely take it up, and you can ask anything specifically there. So that's how we will have the entire session uh, there, and of course, we will be like say recording the session and putting it up for your later reference also. But what we always encourage is to join the session so that you will have the direct interaction with the speakers. So feel free to let your friends know also if you are waiting for any of them. If you don't see any of them here, but they maybe have forgot today. I told again, as Deepavali is there, maybe someone is like I totally forgot that. So please do that, and that is what we'll do today. Okay. So yeah, Prajna, you want to start first?
I feel like you gave a really good introduction. I don't know what to add. Yeah, so like he said, I graduated from UVC like really long time ago now. I've been working for the last 5 years after I did my I did my master's in USC. I work as an RTL design engineer. So my field of focus is VLSI, You know, what else can I add? I think any other thing that will come up probably will come up through the course of this talk. But in general, about masters, I think it's just one other way to achieve whatever you want to achieve. There are several different ways. This is something that to me worked out best. Is there anything specific I was supposed to talk about right now?
Sure, no problem. Anyway, we will, like say, have the questions and you can go through with that. No issues.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Sure.
yeah. I
Thanks.
think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yes, yeah. Bhargavi, you want to go ahead?
Yes. So, like Satish Annath introduced, I'm Bhargavi Nagesh, and I am a 2018 alumnus of Electronics and Communication branch. I come from Bangalore, and currently, like you mentioned, also I'm working as an automotive embedded software developer at Vector Informatik GmbH in Stuttgart, Germany. I'll just give you a brief introduction about my journey as well, so you can also ask questions with respect to timeline. So after my bachelor's in 2018, I landed in a job at Continental Automotive Private India Limited. There I worked in the business unit passive safety and sensorics. So as an airbag calibration engineer. So in this job, we actually used to get acceleration and pressure sensor signals from the car after a crash. During the development of a car, there are like three phases in the car development. One will be prototyping, then pre-series and series before the car even comes to the market. So they try to do this crash tests at the prototype phase, and they give us these sensor signals, and we have to calibrate in such a way that we can differentiate between the high speed and low speed crashes, so that the airbag that deploys the airbag in the car deploys only at the right time, at the right speed. So during this tenure of work, I started developing interest in automotive domain, and that's when I thought that I should do my master's in Germany, particularly because Germany is more the hub of automotive. So that's when I started looking for universities, particularly in the embedded domain. I got multiple acceptance, and in that I chose Darmstadt University of Applied Sciences, because applied sciences in Germany are more have a more practical approach than theoretical approach. So in practical approach of this courses, every city in Germany usually have their own technical universities and applied sciences. So in applied sciences, they have 2 semesters of theory, that is 1 year, and then the third semester will have mandatory internship, and fourth semester is a master thesis. So unfortunately, I came to Germany in the COVID times, where I had to do my master's, the first year course online. So that was unfortunate. I couldn't go much of offline classes and meet a lot of people. But it was also kind of advantage for us online, because we also had some recorded sessions and we could also go through it again and again. And during my second semester, I started looking for internships. We have a mandatory internship as a third semester. And so based on what career I want to pursue, I started looking in those domains for the internships, and then I landed at a internship near area called Frankfurt in Germany, and I continued in the same company for my master thesis. And during my master thesis, I started looking for jobs. And based on what projects you would have done, and based on your master thesis topics, you can look for jobs in that domain. And they also try to make sure that you have certain knowledge before they hire you in that particular domain. So yeah, after that, currently I'm working in Vector. That is the job that I got after my my master's, and yeah, currently I'm working in the area of adaptive AutoSAR. So AutoSAR is kind of a software architecture for the electrical control units inside the car. Earlier, the cars didn't have so much of functionalities. It was just basic real-time requirements that the car required. So only certain decisions, very not so critical decisions, and it has to be fast. That was the only requirement. So there was something known as classic AutoSAR. That's an architecture that was there previously. With nowadays, with the autonomous cars, with a lot of sensors, radars, cameras, lidars, there are a lot of processing that has to takes place, and a lot of high amount of computing that's required to, and also the decisions when the car has to be made when the car is moving, like at the runtime. So to meet those requirements, there was kind of new architecture that was proposed, that is the adaptive AutoSAR. So this is based on kind of Linux platform, and it has kind of object-oriented approach. Whereas the previous classic AutoSAR had more of static approach, like an embedded C. It was based on embedded C. So yeah, currently I'm working in that adaptive AutoSAR domain. I'm working as a developer for software stack. So we provide this interfaces. It's a stack is mostly an interfaces that we provide to the customers like BMW, Audi, and Mercedes, and all these manufacturers. So they try to develop or bring up an application based on this stack. So they design their application based on their models, their sensor placements, and all. So they try to come up with certain type of applications. So yeah, that's about me. So this is my journey, and you can also ask any particulars with respect to technicals and all. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to your questions, and hope I can be of some help today. So yeah.
Yeah, thanks. So let's have, like say, the same kind of questions as I told initially, the generic questions to both of you. That, like say, a lot of people would want to know, right? So first one would definitely be, like say, to shortlist the college and the domain that you want to go ahead with, right? How do you shortlist a college, or like say, in what branch or of engineering that I want to get into? That too, with like say, what happens in the electronics and electrical, this core circuit branches is the niche area that you get into. The more niche area you get into, what happens is, will there be a future? That is definitely a question, right? So Prajna, maybe like say I'll get started with you. Like say, how did you go about this, and your thoughts on this particular query?
So I think it depends when you're choosing universities. It depends on, I think, for me, one of the important things to look for was what kind of research they were doing in that university in the field that I wanted to get into. Why I chose a particular field, it really just had to do with my preferences from college courses in UVCE, right? I liked VLSI. I had a great professor for VLSI, so it was just something I was drawn to. And of course, VLSI is one of those fields I think that will always, for the foreseeable future, have jobs, right? So it's not something that you have to worry about, that it might get outdated soon. So that just was also a factor, as opposed to, I mean, I actually studied electrical engineering in UVCE. So all the other courses that we had to do was already a little bit outdated, the courses that we were doing in UVCE. And I did not see a lot of future for, with respect to jobs, as well, either in India, or even if I were to go outside, it would have I would have to put a lot more effort, honestly. So VLSI was a good, I think, good choice for me in that matter. And then, yeah, with college selection, it had to do with the kind of research that was going on, and then a little bit of proximity to good. I studied in Los Angeles, so California Bay Area is close by, so there are more opportunities for jobs and everything. Um, and I think even when you pick a course or when you pick a university, it's again important to pick courses that are, I guess, useful, right, with respect to what is expected of you in your in the field, right, like in the work environment. So most likely, even when you pick just VLSI, you may have to end up picking, a sort of mixture of courses with design and verification and everything, so that you're equipped, for the job. Yeah, but in the end, it really depends, because selecting a college will have to do with the kind of expenses, because not all colleges cost the same. US colleges are expensive, um, but then you may want to choose based on your financial situation, and it kind of depends. Like, different cities have different living expenses. You want to take that into consideration. So it's a big thing. Once you get into it, you really you will really have a good idea. But just going by, I guess, ideology alone, you would really look at only the the kind of courses they offer and the kind of professors they have, the kind of research. But the reality might be a little different. Those universities might just be too expensive for you or something. So, but then in the end, I think it all sums down to your effort. And I don't think it really matters so much which exact university you went to. It may be like a Ivy League university, or it may be like a smaller, small town college. That doesn't matter, as long as you're willing to put the effort to better yourself.
Okay. Yeah. So, Bhargavi, would you want to?
Yeah. I think Prajna put it across brilliantly. I think it's not just the course. We also have to consider the living expenses, also the opportunities, and also when we are here, we'll not know how the university is. The reality might not be the same. We might see a lot of people giving inputs about the university, but when you are there, you might not feel the same. So making use of opportunities, every single opportunities that you get, and try to have good networking when you're there with the seniors, and also the people whom you can find on LinkedIn, probably. So that would be of great help. And personally, for me, I would suggest students to have work experience before they do their masters, because there are a lot of different streams that people might not be aware of when they are doing their studies. So when you start working, you will start getting exposed to various streams. So maybe something that's very trending, that's not taught in colleges sometimes. So I would suggest that they work at least minimum of 2 years, get to know what's trending, and then where their interest lies, and then try to choose the courses accordingly, and also try to choose, like Pragna mentioned, also where we also have to look for cities which have good job opportunities, also not just the college. So choosing all these, taking into consideration all these options before we start applying for universities makes a lot of difference.
Okay. Okay. Sure. Maybe just one or two more points, Bhargavi. like say from your end about the SOP, or like say the kind of exams that you had to take, like say because from Germany perspective it will be different, and Prajna will like say tell on the US university, right? So maybe
Yeah.
some inputs about that also would help.
Yeah. For me, I mean, I'll just mention at my time, like it was 3 years back, the requirements for the universities changes according to the university. So not all the universities in Germany require GRE. They just need. I had only given IELTS as an English proficiency exam, and they also look at the statement of purpose, and that is very much of importance. When I had prepared my SOP, I had also put my work experience and my passion towards automotive, and also I had also requested my seniors to have a look through and um, just give their inputs on that. Nowadays, there are also consultancies. I think they try to also give SOPs and write the SOPs on behalf of the students itself. But I would suggest students to write their own SOP, because I mean it would make a lot of sense, and they would also get to know uh, what what is their passion, and put their own thoughts into it. So yeah, and one thing about Germany is there are, like I mentioned, there are two types of universities in Germany. There is technical universities, and there is applied sciences. So every city, mostly all the major cities, have both technical universities and applied sciences. Technical universities are more into theoretical, like they have 2 years course, 4 semesters uh, into theory, too much in depth. So mostly people prefer these technical universities uh, who have to do more of PhD and something into research and in that domain. Not like the people who take who take courses in these universities can't get a job. They can also get a job. They can also do their internships and everything. But applied sciences is more of practical approach, and the professors in these applied sciences are the ones who also have who would have worked in the company for 20 years or 15 to 20 years, or they would have what knowledge about how the company works, and what the company um, requires, what the person who's joining these German companies would need the basic requirements. So they teach you in those terms, as compared to the technical universities where they teach more in subjects in depth, and not much keeping these companies in mind. So so they have to also look for what they want to do, whether they want to do PhD or go for higher more studies, and they more want to job oriented, or so based on that you can also select universities.
Okay. But just before I go to Prajna, Bhargavi, like say you're saying that not many of the universities for Germany need GRE, but
Mhm.
IELTS is like say the basic requirement.
Right. And GRE is a plus, but it's not a must.
Okay.
And
Okay.
and that is what I had come across when I was applying.
Mhm.
Right now, I'm not sure how the rules would have
Yeah.
changed, but
Of course.
I would think that GRE is not a compulsory in Germany.
Okay. Okay. I mean, many of the colleges might not need that, is what you're saying. Understood. Understood. Yeah. Yeah. So, Prajna, the same thing, like say from the US perspective, if you want to kind of give a some input to anyone who would like say how to apply, and the SOP again. I know that is a very important factor, but even then, like say just to know your perspective would help.
So I think again, I would say when I was applying many years ago, GRE was a requirement in most universities, but I hear that it's not as important these days. Maybe universities don't require it. So I hear that it's just, if you want, you can add, and it might help, but it's probably not as important. But even I know, I mean, I noticed even during my time that mostly GRE is just used to ascertain your capability of learning advanced stuff, right? So it's not something, it's usually not something like, oh, you need this particular score to be able to apply to a particular university. So it doesn't stop you from, a bad score doesn't stop you from still getting into a good university. um, TOEFL is still, I mean, we use TOEFL, I think, instead of IELTS in most places. It's still important, but it's something that Indians are usually pretty good at. I think that level of English is not very hard for Indians, so that's not something to worry about. Mostly, I think the part that most universities really care about is SOP. A good SOP is a must. Some letters of recommendation is just a plus. It doesn't need to be very, I guess, it's not something that you need to stress about as much. Just, do your best. But yeah, like Bhargavi said, a good SOP is really important, and you want to write. I think ideally yourself, but then I understand limitations. Not everybody can write. It's just not, you know, it's, it's just the way things are, right? Like everybody's good at different things.
Yeah.
But ideally, you want to write SOP. It's a statement of purpose, right? So I think a lot of people that I see just write, okay, this is what I've done. This is my life, right? But you want to write what your purpose of life is. That's something that's really important. Really think about what it is that you want to achieve by doing this master's, right? Like, what do you see for yourself in the future? I think that really helps having that clarity of thought. It not only helps the people select you, it also helps yourself to to be sort of um, to be determined to your goal, right? So that is good. And then um, college scores matter actually here. So unlike all the time that when you entered UVC, you might have been thinking, oh, 12 score didn't really matter, CET exam, that's all that matters. But in here, it matters a little bit. I mean, of course, like you can pad that. Like I didn't have great scores, especially UVC is not that great at giving you good grades, I think. So there are all these other universities that will have like 9.5 CGPA and everything, and our scores always look bad compared to them. But it matters, so don't slack off. Yeah, so I think those are all the things that were important, and just know that know the deadlines of universities and everything, because it's far earlier than you would think. To join in July, August, you need to apply like December of the previous year. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, I think that's about it.
Okay. Okay. Sure. Yeah, I understand. Like say many of the people I have heard also tell the same thing, saying that, oh, I missed the opportunity because I didn't look at the calendar. Like say
Right.
when is the deadline and etc. Yeah. So before we move on to the next aspect, maybe like say again one thing that I would want both of you to kind of tell would be about the college experience there, because like say many people, many of the students also think that it is just like say how it is in UVC, but again it is totally uh, not at all in that aspect. So maybe like say one or two subjects, or one of the things that you experience there which is like say totally contrast to what you had seen earlier, would kind of set a context to everyone thinking that how I should approach this. So Prajna, would you want to kind of you at least tell whatever your thoughts are?
Okay. So I think it is very different. I will start with that. Thankfully, I did not experience this during COVID, so I think I got like the good and bad of actual university life. So I think Bhargavi's experience might be completely different. Um, so I think the things that you kind of have to look at is undergrad 4 years, long time. So you get the time to kind of chill and, make a lot of friends and go through life. You settle down a little bit before you have to start looking for jobs and thinking about your future and everything. But usually masters being much shorter, it's like, you have to be ready to go, the moment you start. You don't get to just, ease into it. um, and honestly, you will see once you come here that um, it's not come here in just general, because I think people who do masters are a little more, they know what they're doing a little more than bachelor student, right? Because in bachelors you are just, like figuring out life and everything. So you will see that everybody is really smart and everybody is really, focused and determined and everything. So you will not, it won't be, I mean, you will be among good peers for the most part, people who are trying to do something with their life. And then I think one huge difference that maybe people will not talk about is once you move out of India, you will suddenly have to, think about a lot more than you're used to. You have to think about, oh, who's going to cook today? Because your mom is not going to. There's no idli vada restaurant anywhere. You have to do all of that yourself. And that can sometimes impact your work also, right? Because you're trying to, like, give your all to studying and to getting a job and everything, and then on top of that you need to take care of life also, and that can be kind of hard. But that's something that you have to kind of learn to manage. And being far away from family and friends can also impact, mental health. You may feel down sometimes, and there's no, not many people to support and everything. Even, I mean, of course you make friends, you have a network and they're there for you, but just like you, they're also on the same boat. They're also just, just trying to get where they're going as fast as possible. So that part is also different. So yeah. What else? I think in general, I loved my courses in USC. They were all great. In UVCE, I used to feel sometimes, some courses, like I said, are very outdated. It's just like, I don't know who cares about this, especially in electrical. But most of my courses were good, and I got to choose them, right? Unlike bachelors, you get to choose exactly what you want to do, and that's really good. And that's something that I hope that India also sees in the future, because here even bachelor students get to choose all the courses they want to take, and that's kind of important. You don't want to do just whatever is being offered. Like, I should be able to choose a couple of computer science, a couple of electronics courses. Why should I just stick to one particular thing, right? um, so that is really good, like, just choosing whatever you like, whatever you're passionate about. um, yeah, I think that's what I can think on top of my head.
Oh,
um,
sure. Yeah. Yeah. Bhargavi, would you want to add?
Yeah, definitely. And I would want to tell the students that a it's not a piece of cake like how it's easier in UVC. Everything is fed to you. The exams are, what kind of questions you might get and all. But in at least in my experience, what they teach you is totally different from what you get in the examination. You won't get even one thing what they would have taught. So it's just at least in my case, the exams would be more on the practical approach, like real life examples. They try to teach you how your Bluetooth works. They would have just given you an introduction with respect to software, like how the software design works, and they'll give real life example and they'll ask you to design in the exam. So then this is like 45 minutes exam, and there'll be 5 questions like that. So so they also test how, they don't require the exact answer, but they just see how your thinking process is. So that's more given preference than the final answer here. So they, if you give the steps, even steps of how it is done, you will get good marks. But if you write the theory, you wouldn't get any marks. So according to me, it's totally different how in how students are taught in India and how it's in abroad. And also, like Prajna added, it's very difficult to manage everything, to cook, to do everything, clean house, laundry. It's, I mean, if you have that experience, a little experience back in India, it becomes easier. Um, so when I was in India, I didn't do any of such things, and it was kind of difficult for me. First 2 months was really, really difficult, and I had, when I came here, it was COVID as well, so I had to do take online classes, um, and that was a plus point for me, I can say, because I need not go to the university, I need not cook and then go and do the packing of lunch and all, but still it's kind of different here when you're all alone, and emotionally you go down sometimes and you won't have family. So I would also recommend students to be mentally prepared before they come here, not just with respect to the courses and the marks and looking forward to that. And also, one thing I forgot is when you come to Germany, the German language is kind of a must. So I would request you to. There are different levels in the language: A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. Um, in universities, there might be for me at least, there was mandatory. I was supposed to do mandatory 2 levels in the university as an integrated, as a part of my course, but not all universities give that, and I would suggest that you have basic level before you come to Germany, so it becomes your daily life becomes easier, talking to like groceries and all that stuff. So um yeah, um and
Okay.
apart from that, yeah, the subjects are quite um that meets the recent recent trends. It's not like outdated, and it's not simple. It gets complicated as and when the semester goes further. So yeah, I would my strong suggestion is you have to be mentally prepared as well.
Okay. Okay. So one last question before we jump to the like say any specific questions. So everyone in the meet, if you have anything specific, think about it, and you can start posting it in the chat. But as I told, there's one question which most of them would definitely want to know is about the career opportunities, right? Like say either in Germany or in US, I have come there. I've spent like say 2 years. I've spent my like say the finances, the expenses, everything is there. Now after I am done, how easy or how hard is it to get a job? I mean, irrespective of the market trends, right? Of course, how the industry up and down, all those things taking into consideration, in what happens in UVC, it is as simple as like say the campus placements happen. There are 100 plus companies coming down. You have to go and like say sit and write the test, attend the interviews. But uh, that again is like say what a perception is in UVC or among the students. So I would want both of you to tell like say them saying, I know it is not the case. Of course, I know it is not the case, but I would want to hear from you, and you telling them would give a much more, like say, hard impact that they understand. So, Prajna, would you want to?
So yeah, I mean, I think US has good opportunities, especially in the electronics field. I think computer science, electronics, usually with respect to job opportunities, you don't have to worry so much. But right now, like you said, it's just not a great, I guess, any sort of market. It's not a great job market. Obviously, we've had a lot of layoffs over the last year. since actually during COVID was a really good job market, I think. But towards the end of it, thanks to a lot of different reasons, it's just not been looking good for the last year. But in general, it's okay. It's not so bad. It's you don't have to worry too much. You should be able to find a job within a few months. But how the process is there are like job fairs in universities, but it works very differently compared to how we had it in UVC. I think in UVC, the entire responsibility of finding a job for you was actually on the placement office. So they did all the work of calling companies and getting them to the campus and giving you interview opportunities. But in here, that's all on you. You need to apply online, or you need to find some way. You need to network. You need to find professors who are willing to give you referrals. You need to find alumni, or just ping people on LinkedIn and hope they respond. You need to find just apply blindly. Most people tend to apply to like 100 companies for internship, maybe even more, especially during I guess bad market like we have right now. But in the end, it's I think it's just a journey that you have to do. I think most people that I know, the moment they land in the US, they start applying for jobs straight away. Especially people with I did not come here with any experience in India, so I just finished my bachelor's and then came. This was my first job that I ever did was in the US. So I was just a little unprepared in that matter, because I saw a lot of people come and then immediately they start applying for jobs within the first semester, and then I just felt like, I'm not ready for this yet. But that's just the way it is, and that's how you need to do it too, because you need to go through the process, get a few rejects. You go to an interview and then you realize how unprepared you are when you go into the interview, so that you can come back and prepare a little bit more. And the interview process itself can be like really long and tiring. I don't know, things have changed actually because of COVID, because now you have online interviews and it can kind of span over days. But when I gave my interview, it was like an entire day. So it can be pretty tiring. And you need to be really, even for the interview, you need to be very mentally prepared, to not, I guess, to not feel rejected when one interview doesn't go well and everything. But yeah, like I said, it's all on you, and it's there are no mass companies just looking to hire like a bunch of people, so you really need to do your work. But yeah, but otherwise it's okay. Electronics, if you put your work, and you should be able to find a job that's totally fine. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks. So, Bhargavi?
It's the same here as well. We have to go to job fairs and try to prove your talent, and based on your projects and expertise, they try to hire you. And Also, one more point in Germany is it's good to have German language in your resume. So they try to also look for it, at least till B1 level, because in the company they don't speak German, but for your um, just for social events or with the colleagues, it's good to have that. They try to connect better when when they know that a little of German. And apart from that, the motivation letter while you apply for the companies here makes a lot of difference. There's a first level of screening that happens in all the companies here. It's kind of automatic. So after that, if you get rejected in that screening, it doesn't go further for the companies. So we have to make sure that we write our resume and our motivation letter in such a way that it tries to pass the first screening. So if it's something related, they only look for people who have certain expertise in the domain that they are looking for. So if you have something apart from that, even slightly related to that, they wouldn't consider. So here it's more of um, if it's very job specific. They don't look for people who have knowledge in everything. They look for people who have knowledge in particular thing that they are looking for. Only then it passes to that screening, and then it goes to the HR, and then the HR does one kind of one level of review, and then it goes to the technical department, and then they contact you for the interview process. So that is very important, and also trying to do projects in that domain is also important. And you can't apply for everything, all the jobs here in Germany. You can apply only when you know that you have knowledge in that particular domain. And also one thing I would also be I would also want you to know is, in Germany, there's, according to me, there's good level of job security. So there are certain rules for the employees that they can't lay off just like that. So it's very stringent rules here. So there's not much of layoffs. Of course, right now there's not a good market for, they've freeze the hiring for sure. They are hiring, but not so much. But they wouldn't lay off so easily as compared to US, is what I feel. In Germany, we have good job security, and um, yeah, that's my experience. And yeah, these things, and making sure that you have right set of knowledge before you apply for the companies. And also in the interviews, they don't look for your marks. It's not important in Germany. They just look for your experiences, your projects, and they try to ask you to explain what you've done, and they believe you that whatever you've done is genuine, and you have that kind of knowledge when they take you for the interview and that process. And they try to ask um, your so for me, for example, I had something related to the adaptive AutoSAR in my master thesis. So that's why I got the job in the adaptive AutoSAR domain here currently. So during my interview process, they give you a problem statement with respect to what you've done. So you have to try to come up with a solution for it and try to present it for them. So they might not see the exact solution for it, but try to also judge you based on your communication skills and how you present, and how what was your thought process behind it, and all. So here, like, I've also done it in India. Sometimes I used to add extra tools knowledge or something in my resume, just to make sure that my resume gets selected for the interview process. But here you can't fake certain things on the resume. You have to be very genuine, and you have to make sure you have that knowledge, because there are possibilities that they can take any part of the resume and go deep in that. So when you are not sure about what you would have written, and when you can't answer, then you will lose the opportunity. So it's good to apply and know what you're writing in resume, and then apply for the job in at least in Germany. So yeah, that's my experience up until now.
Understood. Understood. Yeah. Yeah. So again, what I would want to say is, in the meet, if anyone has any specific questions, feel free to put it out in the chat, and we will try to take a couple of them. We're almost, like, say, as per the plan, another 10 minutes, and that is where the specific questions come into the picture. So if you have anything to ask to either of them, feel free. So until then, one other question that maybe I would want to, like, say, any one of you can answer about the financial assistance or the scholarship aspect of it, right? There were a couple of queries even in the previous sessions, and even in one or two of the forms that people had filled up. They wanted to know the scholarships or the assistance that they get there. So in US, like say, Prajna, you would want to.
So it's not very common that universities in US give financial assistance to foreign students. It will be very exceptional. You need to be really um, just really stand out. Which I mean, most likely it's just not something that they do. I went to a private university on top of that, so we have absolutely no concept of assistance. But there are things that can help. Like if you you can apply to universities that provide TA-ship, RA-ship, research assistant or teacher's assistant roles for master students. My university didn't have that. It only allowed PhD students to be TA or RA, but there are universities that allow master students to work as a TA or an RA, and then they waive part of the fees, maybe like 50% in some cases, a couple of semesters worth. So those are available, and then you can do a lot of jobs in the university that can help with with paying your bills.
Yeah,
But I think that's about it in the US.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So Bhargavi.
Yeah. I must definitely admit that the studies in Germany is not so expensive as US. We have all the colleges is here are more government universities, and it's not so expensive like US for sure. It's maybe yeah, but one thing is when you're applying for your visa, government here in Germany they require something called as blocked account. So they'll have something around 10 lakhs or something that would make sure that the student can come here, and they try to give a part of it like around 863 euros or something every month. So they make sure that the student can survive in Germany for 1 month without any any problems as such. So and also when I'm not sure. There are also some scholarships available, but it's very, very, very difficult to get. There's something called DAAD, that scholarships. It's you have to apply for it, and you have to be a lot of people applying for it. But if you ask me, there's not much of there's. I mean, it also depends on person to person, but I would think that when somebody comes here, there are also a lot of opportunities for student job opportunities. There are like if you have work experience, there's something called as voluntary internships. So where they provide good amount of money based on your work experience and what you can support to them, like normal internship like in India. But there's also mandatory internship that you would do from the college itself. And apart from that, there is also work student. So so this work student you can so every student is allowed to do at least 120 days according to for a year, 120 days or 240 half days. So you can work parallelly to your studies and try to survive with that, I think. And yeah, like I said, using with the help of blocked account, at least we know that we can survive for a year. And but like I said, it's not so difficult like in US with respect to finance. When it comes to finance, I think everybody can manage it, if you can ask me, if you ask me. And also yeah, there are different kinds of odd jobs also you can do. You can work in restaurant, or also do maybe 5 to 6 hours every week or something like that. There are a lot of opportunities here as well. So, but it also depends on the person if you want to apply for loans and all.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's. I would say it's not so difficult like in US. Yeah.
Understood. Yeah. So there's one question. So maybe Bhargavi, I'll go start with you. Anish wants to know, like, say, how important is any research experience, like, say, for any of the admissions there in UG?
I would
Yeah.
I would say it's not. Uh, I would say it's an add-on, not like it's a must. But it also depends on the colleges you're looking for. If you want, like I mentioned, technical universities, they look for more into research and experiences and in this domain, so that they have good, deep knowledge in that respective domain. But when you're applying for maybe applied sciences universities, they look for more of your hands-on experience at the work, and make sure you have knowledge about these change management tools and um, in such areas. So research experience is, I would suggest, is very important in the technical universities where you want to go deep into the subjects, but it's not so important. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a must, but it's good to have in your resume, at least here.
Prajna, anything to add on to that?
I think same. There are universities that require research experience. I think actually I remember Berkeley. I was planning to apply to University of California, Berkeley. It's one of the most prestigious technology universities here, and they absolutely require research experience. But most universities don't need it, but it never hurts. I think if you have an opportunity to get that experience in India, you should. That will definitely, I guess, give you kind of a wider understanding of what you want, if nothing else. Whether research is something that you enjoy and you want to go through that, maybe skip masters entirely and just jump into PhD directly. So it never hurts to get that experience, but not having that experience should not stop you from applying.
Okay. Okay. And I mean, like, say, with whatever experience you have, this is like, say, follow-up question saying that is there a distinction between papers published in academic journals versus papers published in internal company conferences when, like, say, you're applying, or like, say, the weightage for both of them? Any thoughts or anything about that?
So again, I think it's the same thing. There is a distinction at some point. If you apply to
Mhm.
some really prestigious university, they may prefer um, one over the other.
Academic
But for
journals.
most universities, it doesn't matter. I think, like,
Okay.
at least there may be a few, like a handful of them, that really focus on this kind of research. And if you want to do that,
Okay.
but yeah, like I said, it doesn't stop you from, like, getting into a good university, but it helps.
Okay. Okay. So maybe again, okay, there is a question. Okay. Okay. Just a message. Thank you. So one, like, say, maybe last thing from my side before, if there is any other question, any specific subjects or courses that you would want to suggest to the, like, say, core circuit branches students? I know it is a very vast area and etc. But based on, like, say, your own experience, if you can suggest a couple of them which they need to, like, say, focus a little bit more or do a additional course, because as you told, maybe some of the courses that they're studying inside the college might be a little bit outdated, right? Just to improve their skill sets and knowledge and to kind of explore into this domain, they first at least have to know that these are the available topics or courses that they would want to explore and understand a little bit more. So, any things that you would want to kind of suggest to them, Prajna?
So I think generally for anybody in the technology field now, just to take it for granted that you need to know some amount of scripting, some amount of object-oriented programming. This is, I mean, I don't think you should differentiate anymore that, oh, I only like, I only like VLSI, I only like, uh, electrical engineering. Doesn't matter. You need to know these things. They're basic life skills at this point. Um, and I think to some extent it also helps you to do problem solving. I think which, especially in India, UVCE, you don't do that much of. Most of our courses are very theoretical. You do not do a lot of problem solving. So these kind of courses are important. But I think with respect to VLSI, the kind of courses you want to take are, I think, just the regular circuit design. Just know your basics, know state machine design, learn Verilog, uh, and then when you have the opportunity, I think learn, things like, I guess learn more from the internet also now, not just what is available in colleges. Take courses in Coursera, just search things on YouTube and find out more. There are just a lot of things going on. Yeah. And then also, I think just don't get stuck to your field, like, oh, I've taken electronics, so this is all I'm going to do. That's not the way things work anymore. Try and learn about everything. I think probably, Bhargavi was talking about automotive design, and that is something that is, I guess, also all encompassing right now. Like she's working on embedded software. My company does uh, chips that go into automotive cars. And then, of course, there are, like, others, software that's being written for it. So it's a very large kind of a mixed sort of environment. You don't get to be focused on just one thing. You want to know more. You want to know what else is out there. um, of course, I mean, I don't know. I think that the what I want to say is just be open to everything, open to all knowledge that's available for you.
Yeah, yeah. Bhargavi, would you want to add anything?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, like how Pragna said, I mean, it's take it as granted that programming is there everywhere, scripting and object-oriented approach is there everywhere. That is like a default that we need to know. And apart from that, coming to my domain, embedded, I would suggest people to get good knowledge of microcontrollers, the operating system, how it works, and also the drivers, um, uh, knowledge about what happens at the hardware level, and then also of different um, technologies in the software also. Kind of, there's also something new coming up called Rust. It's something that's more trending right now. I would say maybe in another few years we might also change from C++ to Rust. So no, keep learning every day. That's um, you can't be static. You have to keep learning. That's how you can survive in the world right now. So I would also suggest, like how Pragna said, you have to be open to change and open to learn, and try to adapt yourself as and when you move in your career as well. So basics is, with respect to electronics, you need to know how the circuits work, and basic of how the operating system, how the basic microcontroller work for an embedded domain. So yeah, that's what I would suggest
Okay.
subjects.
Before I ask both of you to kind of give your final thoughts, The reason I specifically asked for this, I just wanted to put it across. So this time, with the scholarship initiative from UVCEGA, we are adding a new section to it. Okay, from past 12 years, we have been giving the financial support to students who are in need and etc. This year, along with that, we also added a new category called a certification support. That is, if someone wants to do a course, let's assume from Coursera. Okay, we have listed down around some 22 courses currently from Coursera, which has a capstone project, basically. What we are telling them is the students, basically, they can select the course that they want to do. Initially, they will have to pay 50% and we will pay the 50% of the course fee. If they complete the entire course within the stipulated time, let's assume 6 months, we will pay the remaining amount, we'll reimburse it, and basically that course will become entirely free for them. So the idea is to kind of encourage the students, like say, as you both were saying, to get aware about whatever the new courses are, what are the things that is outside, like say, the regular academics. I still remember in Payana when Dr. V.K. Atre sir had come, he told in UVC there is this misconception of having the verticals or pillars, mechanical, electrical, electronics. The world has totally moved forward. He told this on the stage. We have it on the video. He told, in which pillar in UVC will you put robotics into? Electronics, mechanical, programming, computer science? No, it is a mixture of everything. So each and every student has to learn everything, is what he had suggested even then. And I totally agree with both of you. So that is one of the reasons why we started this certification support. We want to start off in a smaller way this time, but if there is, like say, good response and students feel that it's a nice way to take it forward, we definitely want to take it to the next stage, basically. So that's the idea. So that is one of the queuing things that I wanted to kind of put it based on that question. Okay, so yeah, so before we wrap up, maybe just a minute for both of you to kind of share your final thoughts. Any specific thing that you would want to suggest, or like say anything that you want to tell the students, feel free. Prajna?
I think so I think, yeah, the one thing to suggest is just the same thing that I said, that what you want to do is make a habit of doing more than what UVC has to offer. Like you said, right now you're offering Coursera, scholarship for courses outside. So I think UVC does a good job. It's not like our courses are not good. I mean, I only did the courses. I didn't do anything extra. But the thing is, you want to make a habit of learning all the time. You want to make a habit of not being closed off, of not seeing that, oh, this is mechanical. I don't get it. I'm just not going to think about it. That's just not a good way in anything, right? Like, even once you start working, you're going to be like, okay, this is the part that I work on, and that's all I care about. You should not be that way. So yeah, just make a habit of learning. But with respect to masters in general, it's a good idea if that's what you want. You, like I said at the beginning, there are just many ways to succeed. This is one of them. So it's not something that you have to do to achieve your final goal, but it definitely helps. And masters abroad is probably a little bit of work, but it's not something that you have to. I guess it's not something unachievable. You can do it. You just have to get your mind to it. There are going to be some challenges, but that's just the way of life. Just go for it and give it your all. I'm sure that there will be a lot of people from UVC in the future in US. Right now, I don't see that many, especially from my branch, right, from electrical. I don't know many people here who are from electrical, but I hope there will be soon. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So, Bhargavi?
I totally agree with Pragnya. I think it's a quite amount of work with when we come here, and that process and going through hardships. You have to leave your family and come here and do all by yourself. But I would say it's totally worth it, because not just as a person you grow with all these experiences. You try to take it back to your country as well. You try to also develop your mindset with respect to different cultures, and meeting different people and understanding how they react to situations, how their experiences have been here. And it's a totally different ball game when you come to when you see people with, I mean, here as well, and their mindset is all totally different. So we can also learn good things from here and try to take it back to our country as well. And also, if you come to Germany, you can also try to travel a lot all over the Europe. You can experience a lot of different cultures as well. So I would personally suggest that, even if it's slightly difficult, I would ask you to also uh, take that step forward and come and do your masters. And one day, I know you'll not regret that decision finally. So it'll be better, it'll make you a better version of yourself. So I would really suggest people to take that step and um, come abroad and take the hardships, learn, go through stuff in a hard way, and then achieve things you want to achieve in life.
Yeah. Thanks. So I would want to kind of wrap up the session, and of course, special thanks to both of you. I know for Prajna it is late, and for Bhargavi it is early, but still, like say, you both of you managed to join us. Thank you for this joining us and sharing your thoughts. Of course, the people who joined us also, I know it's Deepavali and you still join. The number of students has always been, like say, that dicey thing, because as I've always told, now you both also mentioned, right, that when there is an opportunity, you have to try to make the best use of it, and that is something I personally feel a lot of the students in UVCE have to understand and make use of it. That aspect is still something that is missing. We'll definitely work on that going forward. But for as of now, this as I told, all the seven sessions, 6 sessions of Unnati is already on YouTube. This also will go into the channel shortly. So please share it with your friends. And to reach out to Bhargavi or Prajna on LinkedIn, we had tagged them in the post, the previous post. What I just want to kind of give a hint of suggestion will be, don't just randomly put a message saying, okay, what do you suggest? Okay, please do some background work, do your homework first, and then when you're stuck somewhere, when you want to get some more information, which that will add their value, their experience, only then approach anyone, rather than just randomly blank questions will not help in any way. Even they will not want to answer that kind of things. Okay. So thanks again. Thanks everyone for joining, and happy Deepavali again. And we'll meet again shortly. Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much, Anna.
Yeah.